Your future self has written you another letter, and as always with these readings, the letter has arrived unfinished. So it will be up to you to complete the letter. This reading is going to be for those who are feeling frustrated, stuck, or a little unclear right now and aren't really sure where to go from here. So settle in and let the cards meet you where you're at. For anyone new here, my readings aren't predictive. They go below the surface where powerful long-term change begins. Before deciding if a message is not for you today, take a moment to ask how the messages might apply. Then use your discernment to decide what to take or leave. You are the authority here. Me and the cards simply illuminate your own wisdom. Timestamps are in the description, but for those who would like a close-up of the cards today, let me do that right now. Soul Path 1. Soul Path 2. And Soul Path 3. When you're ready, head into the description, click the timestamp for your reading, and we'll see you over there. Hello, Soul Path 1, for those who chose this swirly design. Welcome into your message. So this was an art piece that I channeled when I tapped into Avicii's energy. There was a lot of inner turbulence, a lot of emotion, a lot of sensitivity underneath, but there was also a lot of energy and expressiveness that came through in the external. There was extroversion, but there was a lot that was fueling that extroversion, that the feelings, the thoughts, the experiences. And that could be where you're at right now, where there's just a lot of energy going on within the emotional body. There could be a sense of overwhelm. There could be a sense of chaos. Also, a lot of excitement, just a lot of energy. You could be someone that is extroverted, but also very emotionally sensitive. So there's these two polarities kind of tugging at each other. And there could just be a lot of energy going into different areas of your life at the same time. So let's see what your letter has to say. My dearest one, you're making healthy, balanced choices because you learned how to love yourself in ways that can't be outsourced. This happened when you decided. What did you decide that helped you love yourself more in a healthy, balanced way? And you're welcome to share it in the comments. You're welcome to journal about that, meditate on it, whatever you feel is best there. So if there is a lot of energy going out to different people, you're expending a lot of energy outward, where do you fall in that mix? So let's take a look for Soul Path 1 and their future self. It's tapping into that. So we have the Lovers in reverse and the Four of Swords. Yeah, I think we're just going to go for 2 today. There's a feeling of really being checked out or not making the healthy choices. There's some recovery here that's happened. So what I'm getting from this is sort of a cause and effect, where there were some unhealthy choices that put you in a position where you had no other choice but to pause and reflect, to heal, to recuperate, to recover. A very basic example, first thing that's coming to mind here, is someone that works too much. You work too much, you want to see progress, you want to make the money, you want to, whatever the goal might be for you in working too much. And you've worked so much that you've burned yourself out. You have mental exhaustion. You can't make decisions. Maybe you're dealing with depression or some other form of ailment that almost gives you no choice but to stop working so much, So, yeah, it just feels like some choices here have been made that need to be corrected or balanced, because right now they aren't feeling balanced according to the cards. Now, that will have to be up to your discretion on what that is for you, whether it's work, whether it's spending too much time alone, whether it is not dealing with some kind of mental health struggle. There is a healthy choice that needs you to be made, and possibly a pause in order to get you to see what that is. Taking a time out. This energy feels very busy. There's a lot of things going on with the card that you chose for your pile leader today. So maybe there is a decision of I can't stop, won't stop in whatever area of life that is. And why is that? What do you feel will happen if you stop? What will you feel would happen if you made a different choice, one that balanced and prioritized your mental health and your well being, but also allows you to help and give and offer and create at the same time? So let's get into that. Let's see what's underneath here. What is underneath of all of this? Five of Pentacles. It's funny, the feeling that I'm getting is that the thing that you fear is almost happening anyway. So going back to that overworking example, it's like you overwork so that you make all the money and make progress in whatever form that is, but you work yourself to the bone so much that you can't show up for work. So then you get into the exact position of not making the money, of having to take time out, of having to go on some kind of disability. So there is a fear here. There's a fear of loss. There's a fear of isolation. There is a fear of despair. And maybe there is an avoidance, some kind of, this is an avoidance tactic to avoid that. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And the world in reverse underneath that. So there's like I feel like you've been cycling this for a while, in and out of burnout, in and out of trying to figure out, how do I move forward and how do I get rest? And, so you sacrifice rest for progress. Yeah, again, there's just a busyness with that card that you chose. So yeah, there is an underlying fear there. Fear of change, fear of, loss, fear of ill health. But the irony is that I almost feel like you're there. So is this really working? What is being asked of you right now? For Soul Path 1, what is being asked of you right now? Page of Pentacles in reverse, and one more. Slow down. Slow, 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 slow. It's what you don't want to hear. What do they need to... What is being asked of them now? Five of Swords here. Okay. So, yeah, this is about being slow and also... I'll get to that second message in a minute. Sorry, I'm feeling very scattered. And I almost wonder if that's part of your energy too, but because the Page of Pentacles in reverse can be about scattered energy and not really getting anywhere, because your energy is being spread too thin. Your focus is being spread too thin. And there's a winning at all costs here with the Five of Swords. So there is a need to win at something. There's a need to... What's being asked of you now is to have the hard conversations with yourself, to have the hard conversations with other people, not to prove yourself right, not to prove yourself in any regard. Now, this could be tension with other people as well. Where is the tension showing up? So I feel like the focus doesn't need to be on the thing that needs to be fixed. It almost needs to, it almost needs to be focused on the tension that you're feeling. And maybe working backwards. That's a really strange message. Might be, might be relevant for somebody here. I'm going to look at bottom of the deck here in a minute. Also, too, this almost feels like fighting for what you feel is right. But not in the way that kind of overwhelms a conversation, but like really fights for what you need. Look at how this has affected your progress negatively, how this has affected your mental health negatively, your physical health negatively, the connections you have with others negatively. Because there's a different focus moving forward. Your future self is coming through with this enlightenment that there's a new path that needs to be taken. And you might be criticizing yourself for this new path that you would like to take, because there's that tension between staying and leaving. If we think of the 4 and the 6 on the other side of the 5, this is staying where you are, resting in place, not doing much of anything, but recuperating and recovering until you feel well enough. And then the 6 on the other side is this progress, is having this mental shift, this perspective shift that changes everything, and how you move and how you think. How you're thinking of something right now might be the thing that needs to shift in this moment. Maybe that is the healthy choice, is to not have to do something to prove yourself, not having to do something to showcase your worth. 5 of Swords is a tough energy. And I wonder if you're being really tough on yourself because you're in this place of stagnation, or starting and stopping, of apprehension, of feeling scattered. Bottom of the deck here. And then we laughed. That's funny. Spirit's funny. So there is an undercurrent in all of this. We were just talking about that in the previous message about progress, mental progress, and this tension between staying or leaving. So in staying in this place of where you currently find yourself, maybe making decisions that are for progress and success in reaching a goal over your mental health and well-being, I feel like you're being called to really look at new perspectives, new ways of seeing things, and not feeling like there is no way forward. There almost feels like some black and white thinking here, and that could potentially be getting you in this stuck place, but also trying to avoid and ironically realizing some of your fears at the same time. So what would it look like to do things differently? Check in with what beliefs are driving your current situation, and what new beliefs or healthy choices would you need to make in order to balance some kind of scale here and to create more harmony, maybe within your relationships, in your relationship to something, maybe even relationship to self. So I'm going to leave the reading officially here, my dear Soul Path 1. If something landed, comment with the phrase or the message that hit home the most. And remember that this isn't a prediction of what's coming. It's an invitation to engage and trust your own inner knowing. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. For Soul Path 2 and those who chose this Eclipse card, welcome into your message. Something may have been hidden up until now, or there's something that you weren't able to look at because it has been overshadowed by something. Maybe something is currently being overshadowed by an emotion, by something that is unseen, by a shadow. The light has been dimmed on something as well. So you could be going through Dark Night of the Soul. The Moon card is coming to mind, where your logic and your intuition are at odds. The logic makes sense, but also the intuition makes sense. And there's also this tension between your conditioned beliefs and what you feel is correct for you. So you could be at a crossroads. You could be traversing new territory, letting go of old things. So let's see here. What does your letter have to say? My dear one, there's a truth you're hiding, not because you're a bad person, but because there's something vulnerable to protect. This isn't how you want to live anymore. So what do you do? And you're welcome to share in the comments. Maybe it's something you don't do anymore. Yeah, feel free to share in the comments, or you're welcome to journal about that, meditate on it, and maybe even get in touch with that vulnerable thing that you might be protecting that is hiding your truth, that is eclipsing your fullest expression. Couple cards to start the reading for Soul Path 2 Spirit. Thank you. Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and then the Knight and the Nine in reverse. There's some action that you're not taking here. Or there's some kind of go back to the beginning, redirection, starting over, I don't want to go here. It's like you meet your insecurity and you go back to the starting line, or you stop in your tracks. And I almost wonder if there's a part of you that is playing small, that doesn't have maybe the confidence that you would like to have in order to pursue something, in order to move forward with something. Maybe you're worried also about charging for your time, asking for a raise. Money could have some involvement here. But there's a part that is fearful of standing up for your worth, of really being confident in what you feel your services are worth, or you as a person, the value that you bring to the table. Yeah, you're stopping yourself with something here. So let's get underneath this. What's underneath this? The King of Swords, somewhat in the sideways reverse position. It's like you feel you don't know enough. And this also could be the reaction, the undercurrent is that your ideas might be different. The way you think is different. The way you communicate is different. Maybe how you verbalize something is different, and maybe it's taken a different way. Like maybe it's taken the wrong way. And maybe you're internalizing that as I'm not good, or I'm not good enough, or I don't have value, because maybe you have some kind of knowledge, but you're not confident in that knowledge. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust your decisions. You don't trust your knowing. But you're not giving yourself enough credit here. It's being asked of you now. The Devil in reverse and the Magician in reverse. We'll look at the bottom of the deck in a minute here. So we have two major arcanas. So this feels like a big deal. And it could be a pretty big moment in your life, which is maybe why you're finding yourself in this space of playing small, or feeling disconnected from self, is because you are detaching from something that has been quite unhelpful. And this is affecting how you create, and maybe even questioning what you want to create. Maybe it has you questioning yourself or your ability. But it wasn't you. It was your environment. And maybe the behaviors or the patterns that you found yourself in, the people that you found yourself around. So this could be a moment where your future self is asking you to rewrite the narrative about who you are, your value, and even what it is you value in yourself and others. So, what are some unhealthy behaviors, some unhealthy beliefs that you carry about yourself as it relates to this King of Swords? Your thoughts, your ideas, your communication style, your knowledge. Where is that wound? And what belief have you attached yourself to that is actually not true? That you actually don't believe, but are believing because you've been told. Bottom of the deck, undercurrent, 2 of Cups in reverse. So there is a mismatch here between possibly you and another. It could be this relationship here with the Devil, this connection, this attachment that needs to be unhooked from. But this could also be a part of you that you've been disconnected from in this process. And maybe that's the crux of this disconnection here with self and this stopping or stalling or not having faith in the process moving forward, or maybe this feeling of codependence of I need external validation in order to know that I'm on the right path, or I need permission in order to show up and share my ideas and be confident. Where was that learned? Because I feel there's a part of you here that is missing in this equation. There is no upright card. So there is an internalized reflection happening here that your future self wants you to maybe pause and look at in this moment where things are stalling, things are feeling stuck or frustrating. And looking at some of the dynamics and some of the things going on underneath the surface here. Where can you create a deeper connection to self? A more intimate understanding of who you are, what you would like to offer, maybe of how you love yourself, your work, and how that reflects in the external, and how you would like that to change or be different. And what space are you creating from here? Are you creating from a space of smallness and fear and criticism from the external world, or not getting any feedback from the external world, and creating from a place of guessing and wanting to be accepted and dimming yourself so that you can fit in or be seen? I don't feel like your future self wants that for you because it hasn't been working for you. It's blocked your creativity. It has disconnected you from some kind of passion or pleasure or desire. So I feel that's what your future self wants you to explore here. What is being protected in this smallness? What is that vulnerability? So I'm going to leave the reading here, my dear Soul Path 2. If something landed, comment with whatever phrase or message hit home for you. And remember that this isn't a prediction of what's coming. It's an invitation to engage with and trust your own inner knowing. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you soon. For Soul Path 3 and those who chose this messy middle card, welcome into your message. So you could be feeling in the middle of two worlds, two very different worlds, two very different paths, two identities, two lifestyles. And you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So it feels, and I'm doing this because it just feels like a mess, like a ball of mess, a ball of yarn that you have to unravel. And so there could be a lot going on. There could be some confusion. There could be some fogginess around where you are. And everything feels like it's moving. So the targets are moving, the energy is moving, and you can't quite really grasp into something, whether that's a path forward, whether that's an energy. It just feels like every day something changes or something's different. It's like quicksand. Interesting. Okay, so here's your letter. My dear one, you've stopped investing in things that feel empty. You tried to make it work, but your heart wasn't in it. You let go because you... So maybe there's an emptiness here that you've stopped investing in, and you're stepping into this messy middle. And there's something in this space that needs to be released. So I'll leave that there. You're welcome to comment how you're finishing that letter, or you can journal about it, meditate on it. And I'd love for you to come back to let me know how this panned out for you this month. So let's get some energy here. Yeah, there's quite the interesting energy here. We've got the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Hermit and the upright. So there's a lot of chaotic energy with this Knight of Swords, of like moving forward and just moving and going and doing, and I gotta go here and gotta go there, and there's a lot of things to do. But then there's this opposing energy of the Hermit, of like this quiet space. So it's almost like it feels very bipolar in a way, where it's like very manic and I wouldn't say somewhat depressive. It's just like an on and off switch. And that could be the chaos that I was feeling in this messy middle, where there's this ball of yarn that you're like frantically trying to unravel. But at the same time, that almost feels like meditative, you know? So there's I don't know if there's a panic or a franticness, but also this energy of like really trying to find your way. Now, what's interesting too, if we're kind of looking at the Knight of Swords not moving, like if he's in the reverse, he's stopped, right? That could be what brought you here, is the fact that maybe you've tried everything. Maybe you were in a frantic state, you were in a panic, you were under pressure, you were going and doing, and you were just spinning yourself into exhaustion. And there almost is this new approach here with this Hermit card. Like, okay, let's slow down and internalize. This could be inner chaos too. It's a very interesting energy, whatever it is. It's very frantic, it's very on-off, it's very hot, cold, light, dark. Yeah. Yeah, so there could be an internalized panic, but on the outside you're like, everything's chill, everything's good. But on the inside, maybe there's a lot of chaos. Let's get some more information here. What's underneath all of this? So 6 of Cups. Justice in reverse. More interesting energy here. This could be an energy you're dealing with here. Knight of Swords in reverse. Maybe that's the frantic energy I'm picking up. You're the calm one in this whole thing. And this energy, this frantic energy, it gets you anxious and on edge, but you know how to deal with it really well. And it has some attachment to the past. So it could be a child, it could be someone from your childhood, or someone you've had a long-term connection with, someone you are heart connected to. And maybe this person has some kind of attachment towards you. And maybe maybe this energy or being connected to this past thing has felt very frantic for you, and you have almost learned how to not be, how to not engage with that, and maybe you felt like it was unfair. So maybe it's this cycle that you go through of like, no, I'm good. I'm feeling in my energy. I'm good. This doesn't feel right because of this obligation or this past connection. And then you get into this anxious energy and the cycle repeats. So it's like you're trying to move away from this energy in your life, but you keep getting pulled back in and repeating the cycle. But each time I feel like you're learning something new. And the unfairness is really standing out to me of like, this feels unjustified. This doesn't feel fair. This doesn't feel right. And because of that feeling, because this might be an unfamiliar because you're in unfamiliar territory, the correct thing might feel unfair. And so maybe there's a guilt that happens here. But I think this attachment, this connection is rooted in the past. I don't feel like there's a lot of future left in it. Because if this Knight of Swords is in reverse, it's not really moving. It's not really progressing, and maybe this person has a reaction to it. I don't know. It's very interesting, though. But you'll notice in this, too, on the left-hand side, there's like dry desert, rocks. There's not really a lot of life, and you're in this messy middle. And on the other side of that messy middle is like a beautiful garden, and it's lush. But you have to kind of go through that. I don't know. Your future self doesn't want you to go through this forever. Your future self wants you to be okay with the discomfort of choosing something that feels unfair, but also feels really correct and aligned to your truth, and honoring your truth, honoring what feels correct for you, even if it means you having to walk the path alone for a while. So there could be a fear here. There could be feelings of guilt and shame. What is the belief underneath that? So what's being asked of you now? The Devil, the sideways position. And I did this one differently than the other two. So one more, Four of Pentacles. Yeah, this person that you might be connected to wants things to stay the way they are. But I don't feel that's a very healthy, just based on what I'm seeing in the cards, doesn't feel like a healthy reason to continue. There is stability there. There could be a past there. There could be some comfort. There could be financial reasons for being connected to this person. But I feel you're outgrowing something here. You want to hang on to the things that are important, and that is what you're being asked to do now, is what are the things, the values and the beliefs that are unshakable, that are non-negotiable, that are things that you can no longer live without. That feels like this new contract with yourself. And writing out those values of, this is what's important to me, this is what I won't tolerate, and this is where I would like to be, kind of clarifying this for yourself, even writing a little contract, terms of conditions, terms of service, of engaging with certain people that might feel a little toxic or heavy, or there's an unhealthy attachment there. What are your rules that you would like to live by now based on what you've learned? I feel you've learned a lot about yourself. A lot about yourself in the stagnancy or the stillness or in the quietude of your life. And maybe you think that's selfish. So again, coming back to what do I want to believe? Stepping into that future self, what would my future self do? What would they feel? How would they act? What would they think? Most importantly, what is the beliefs underneath all that? What are the values underneath all that are driving everything from those places? What are the fears? What are the desires? Bottom of the deck. 8 of Wands in reverse. So because I did this differently, one card should be here and 2 cards should be here. And I kind of did the opposite. So there is something that is backwards than what you're used to. It's going to feel backwards. It's going to feel awkward. It's going to feel like, and again, we have somewhat of a reversal here of like, no, pull your energy back. Especially if you've already made a decision about something. Something is non-negotiable for you here, for your soul, for your future self. But yet, there's something that keeps being entertained. So this is kind of pulling the plug on that. But first, it has to do with pulling the energy back and just getting really clear with yourself about your new foundations. Not the foundations rooted in the past, not the memories, but like what feels correct, fair, healthy to you in this moment. And redirect that energy to that, not this. So that is where I'm going to leave the reading, my dear soul path 3. If something landed, comment with the phrase or the message that hit home for you the most. And remember that this isn't a prediction of what's coming. It's an invitation to engage with and trust your own inner knowing. Thank you for being here. I'll see you soon.